Hi, I'm Lily. Today I'm going to read the story The Fisherman and His Wife. BCAT Level 12. The Fisherman and His Wife. Okay, let's read it. The Fisherman and His Wife. There was once a fisherman and his wife who lived in a leaky little shed down by the sea. Every day, the fisherman walked across the beach, sat himself down on a rock, and did some fishing. Every day, the fisherman's wife stayed at home, sat herself down in her chair, and did some rocking. One bright spring morning, the fisherman got up early. The sun was rising in the east, sending shafts of red and gold across the sky. The sea, lying flat as a sheet of glass, reflected the sunrise like a mirror. The fisherman sat himself down on his rock, dropped his hook into the deep water, and let out his fishing line. He was staring up at the sky when suddenly his fishing line got tugged down so hard he nearly fell off his rock. He'd hooked something big. He hauled and halved and hauled, and finally, from the depth of the sea, he pulled up an enormous flat flounder. It was the biggest fish he'd ever seen. Wow. When he was a fisherman, and this was a fish, he was going to kill it. Of course. But then the flounder looked at the fisherman, and its beady blue eyes opened its mouth and spoke. "Please don't hurt me," it said. "I'm not really a fish. I'm an enchanted prince." "An enchanted prince?" asked the fisherman. "Goodness me! Well, of course I shall release you right away. It won't be to eat an enchanted prince." He took his knife, cut the line, and freed the flounder. It dived back into the depth, leaving a streak of blood down like a red line through the water. Scratching his head, the fisherman went home and told his wife. She stopped rocking for a moment. She had a long fin, and then she said, "That flounder must have been a magic one. You should be asked that fish for a wish." "A wish?" chuckled the fisherman. "What would I wish for?" The fisherman's wife looked at the leaky little shed. The rain dripped through the roof into the winter, and the wind poked its fingers through the cracks in the walls. "Go and call him. Tell the fish I want a nice cozy cottage," she said. So the fisherman went back down to the sea. He was surprised to see that the water had turned a sickly looking greenish yellow. The wind was whipping it into little waves. Putting his hand up to his mouth, the fisherman called, "Fat, flat flounder, magic fish, my old wife, she wants a wish." Up came the fish from the depth of the sea. "What does she want?" it asked. She wondered if you might give us a cottage," the fisherman replied. "Go back home, fisherman," said the flounder. "She's got what she asked for." Yeah, the nice cozy, I guess, the nice cozy cottage, I guess. The fisherman went back home, and there, instead of a leaky little shed, was a cozy cottage with a thatched roof. Pink and white roses were winding around the door. There were chickens picking in the yard, apple trees hung heavy with fruit, and vegetables grew in the garden. The fisherman's wife had got exactly what she wished for, but was she happy? No, she was not. The very next morning she called her husband. If the flounder could give us a cottage with just one flick of his tail, I think he could manage something a bit bigger. Go and tell him. Go and call him. Tell the fish I want a mighty, magnificent castle. Wait a second. Okay, let's see. Grumbling to himself a little, the fisherman went back down to the sea. He was thrilled to see that now the water had turned blue and purple, the color of a breeze. The wind had grown stronger and the waves were bigger. Putting his hands up to his mouth, the fisherman called, "Fat, flat flounder, magic fish, my old wife, she wants a wish." Up came the fish from the depth of the sea. "What does she want now?" it asked. Uh, she wants something. She wants something bigger," the fisherman said with a sad sigh. "She wondered if you might give us a castle." "Go back home, fisherman," asked the flounder. "She's got what she asked for." The fisherman went back home. Instead of a cozy little cottage, there was a mighty magnificent castle with a moat and a drawbridge and 4 towers. 4 staircases wound up and round to massive battlements. It took the fisherman a very long time to find his wife, I guess, because it's 2. And okay, let's see. When he did, she was sitting in the great hall. There were servants scurrying in every direction, obeying her orders. "Fetch this, take that, do that, scrub this, wash that." The fisherman's wife had exactly what she was for, but was she happy? She was not. The very next morning she called her husband. "I don't see the point of living in the castle unless I can be queen. Go and call him. Tell that fish I want to be queen." Muttering to himself and thoughting under his breath, the fisherman went back down to the sea. He was alarmed to see that the water had turned as black as coal, and the wind was blowing white crests onto the huge waves. Putting his hands up to his mouth, the fisherman called, "Fat, flat flounder, magic fish, my old wife, she wants a wish." Up came the fish from the depth of the sea. What does she want now?" it asked. "My wife. She wants to be queen," the fisherman said sorrowfully. "Go back home, fisherman," said the flounder. "She's got what she wished for." Really? The fisherman went back home. There were royal flags from the castle towers. Soldiers in smart red uniforms marched up and down in the castle courtyard. Officers sat on prancing horses, yelling commands: "Left, right, halt." The fisherman's wife was in the great hall, but she wasn't in a rocking chair anymore. She was sitting on a silver throne, wearing a red velvet cape trimmed with white fur. On her hand was a golden crown, studded with emeralds and rubies and sapphires and diamonds. The fisherman's wife had got exactly what she wished for, but was she happy? She was not. The fisherman's wife watched the moon set, watched the sunset and the western side of the great hall. She sat on a silver throne all night. In the morning, she watched the sun rise on the eastern side of the great hall, and then she called her husband. I want to be the one who tells the sun when it's time to go down. I want to be the one who tells the sun when it's time to come up, and the moon too. It's not allowed to move unless I give it permission. I want to be in charge of everything. Go and call him. Tell him that fish, I want to be queen of the universe. No, protested the fisherman. I can't. I won't. I am the queen, screamed the fisherman's wife. And you are nobody. I give orders. You go down to the sea right now. Call him. Tell that fish I want to be queen of the universe. Grumbling to himself under his breath, the fisherman went back down to the sea. This is wrong, he mumbled. Oh, wrong, wrong, wrong. The water was now scarlet, and the sight of it terrified him. The whole sea seemed to be full of blood. Rain fell in sheets from great black clouds. Thunder rolled, and the lightning tore the sky apart. The wind howled through a mysterious wave that crashed onto the beach. Putting his hands up to his mouth, the fisherman yelled, Fat, flat, flounder, magic fish, my old wife, do you want to wish? Up came the fish from the depth of the sea. Now what? He demanded. The fisherman was so embarrassed. She could hardly say, My old wife, she said in a scared whisper. She wants to be queen of the universe. The fish looked at the fisherman, and the fisherman looked at the fish. Both of them were silent for a long time, but then the flounder called, Go back home, fisherman. She's got what she deserves. The fisherman trudged miserably home across the beach, his heart as heavy as his feet. He was so petrified of what he might find that he held on his hands over his eyes. He couldn't bear to look. When at last he peered between his fingers, he saw no soldiers, no servants, no silver throne, no velvet robe, no golden crown, no mightily magnificent castle, not even a cozy cottage. There was just the leaky little shed and the fisherman's wife sitting in her chair doing some rocking, and maybe, just maybe, doing some thinking too. Bye!